What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumbass. Like and subscribe. So the drama continues. Um, One thing I have a problem with is that I was listening to a Boom show today. Boom was on there. Who else is on there? The usual suspects: Crispy Bomb, and the two other guys. Jamie Moran and wow, why can't I remember the there? It doesn't matter. And so they were very vocal about how they feel the way that Microsoft handled the release, let's just say, the retiring and the resigning of Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond. Now, I listened to the whole thing, or pretty much all of it, and one thing that I have not heard was them read out Sarah's response, which I read. I didn't do a video. I think I'm going to do a video about that tomorrow. Read through that. But I did read it. And it sounded like someone who wasn't fired. Now, the language is she resigned. So she was given the option to resign. Or basically she was put in a position where she didn't want to stay there anymore, which is resign. It's like, I already went through this. Phil was going to retire regardless, So when he retires, Sarah expects to be taking his place, but Satya had other plans because he's the CEO, he's the boss, right? So he's like, nah, I got this AI lady who knows, hey, she's good. And Sarah's like, well, what am I finna do? You could be just kind of doing the same thing you're doing right now. Actually, it would have been a demotion, honestly. And she was like, nah, I'm good. And she bounced. And so, like, within the language of what she says, yeah, I'm going to stay on for some months to help Asha acclimate and, smooth transition. Same thing that Phil's doing, basically. So I'm like, if she was fired, and she was like, would she stick around for months to help Asha to, I don't know. I don't think so. Like, did Sean Layden stick around to help Jim Ryan acclimate? Did he? No, they tossed his ass out. Said, hey, give me your key card and there's the door, son. That's what they did. So I don't know. All of y'all are freaking out about it. And here's another thing about like Boom Show and the panel. They're all angry, right? And I know change is hard. People don't like change. Change is challenging. It's not hard. It's challenging. And if you're not up for the challenge, then fine. You just sit back and be, have your little pouty party or whatever. But I welcome it because honestly, the way the Xbox has been going for years, it's kind of not working the best. Some stuff is good. Mostly as far as perception wise is bad. And perception is a lot of what this whole industry is, entertainment. And Sony has the perception down. Their business model is not the best. I would say Microsoft's business model is way better than Sony's. But the perception is that PlayStation is the market leader. PlayStation is number one. There is nothing else but PlayStation. That's the perception. But reality, we know the reality. And so when I hear everyone saying that, oh, seems like Sarah Bond was a scapegoat and this and that and the third, and I'm like, okay, I get how you can go and run to that conclusion, get to that conclusion. But my issue is that we have enough ponies and donkey unicorns out here doing negative news about Xbox. Why are you feeding them? Why are you feeding that machine? Why are you falling into the trap of negative news? Why don't we do this? Why don't we take their word? I know it's hard to do because everybody's cynical, but you take their word as it is. She says she resigned. What are her reasons? We don't know. We're not going to find that out for a while. But she resigned, right? Phil retired, right? Everybody's like, no, he got fired. Oh, she got fired. Everybody's jumping to... That's not what they said. Why is everything a conspiracy? Why is everything not what they said? And then we go to Asha, right? She's sitting here. She's like, beep, beep, boop. Beep, boop, beep, boop. You know what I'm saying? She's like, yeah, she clapped back at Ryan McCaffrey. You know, she's saying all the right things, right? Now I said maybe uh, Matt Pitbull Booty is kind of giving her some pointers, some tips, because he's a games guy. How many games does he play? I don't know if he's a gamer like Phil was or is, excuse me, but he's head of game content. He's the dude between Asha, Phil, Sarah, and the studios. So he knows what's up. And he was at Midway, I believe, before. So he has knowledge in that type of stuff as far as getting the games done and stuff. But why is it so hard to believe that Asha wouldn't be a good fit? Why is everybody scared of Asha as opposed to Sarah? Well, Sarah, she had no knowledge. She wasn't a gamer. She came in through T-Mobile or whatever, and her job was to, I forget what she did at T-Mobile. I think it was a merger between Sprint and so just to acclimate all the different, and maybe that was her job with the ABK deal, and she did it, and then she got a promotion. So she did her job. But now they got Asha. Know what Asha does? Real good. Has a track record of doing it, gaining people, gaining players, gaining, I was going to say acquisition, acquiring bodies. That doesn't sound right either. But she does that. She's done that. That's her speciality. And so the fact that was the core AI lady, right? I think is a bonus, because the problem with, I think a lot of people are scared of AI and they don't realize, or they just want to ignore the fact that AI has been here for years. AI has been here for years. And it will continue to be here. You can call it AI, you could call it procedural generation, you could call it whatever you want to call it, but it's been here. And the fact that you don't want to recognize it, they're changing the name of what it used to be called and now what it is called. The main difference, I think, what people are afraid of is the ML part, the machine learning part, but that's just making the procedural routines that they had already smarter, more efficient, better. And so the fear of AI, I'll never understand it. It doesn't make sense, because technology has always replaced monotonous and dangerous jobs for us humans. Throughout history, it has done that. And this is what's happening again. Not as dangerous, but definitely monotonous, right? I mean, think about just computers, right? How were they making computers before the machines were making computers? Right? It's the hand, let me put the lead and let me get solder all these chips together. Yeah, it took forever, right? Now they got computers, zip, zoop, bloop, deep, deep, doop, blast, bleep, bloop, done, right? So are you gonna cry and protest the computers that replace the jobs of the people who used to, solder chips on the circuit boards? I don't hear nobody cry for them. Why don't you cry for them, for Steve Wozniak? He got no job no more because the computers could do his job now. I don't hear nobody saying nothing. I don't hear nobody crying for the auto workers who can't paint cars anymore because the robots. I don't hear anybody crying for the spot welders at the auto plant that ain't doing it because the robots are bizit. I don't hear that cry. I don't hear them crying, but they're gonna cry about this. Because it's convenient, because it's negative, because it's whatever. Y'all need to stop being negative. And like I said, these Xbox shows are feeding into it. Why? Why don't you look at the positive that is? Here's the positive. She is one of the smartest people that have that knowledge. I watched an interview of her. It was about, I think it was either a month ago or a year ago. I think it was a month ago because Ignite just happened, I think. Or maybe it was a year ago. It doesn't matter. It was recent. And so she was talking to one of her underlings, her co-worker, but, she was the boss. She's the CEO of Core AI. And they were going in. And I knew about the 2% of what they were talking about. But she was saying the words. And I was like, okay, she's no dummy. She's a very intelligent person. Is she smarter than Sarah Bond? I don't know, because I don't even know how. I mean, Sarah Bond's a beast. Sarah Bond made the ABK deal work. She made it happen. So I ain't taking nothing away from Sarah Bond. But this, Asha, if anyone were to be in charge of what's going on with Xbox and AI and Microsoft and all that stuff, and to help incorporate it and to just to make sure that it isn't trash, like she said, I would trust someone who knows. Like, imagine if this whole AI initiative was happening and Sarah Bond was there, who knows nothing about AI. How would that work? It wouldn't work. It would just self-destruct and explode, and it wouldn't work. But when you get somebody who knows about it, who knows how to implement it, who knows, like, okay, for enterprise, these customer needs these type of models, and then they have models that have models that have models. So it's like a model that has multiple models within it. And then she was explaining all these things, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to understand, right? And then you take that and you say, okay, how can we apply these models to game production, right? And you say, oh, okay, well, for instance, this came to my mind. She didn't say this, but I was just like, okay, one thing that is important in video games, making games, bug fixes. Monotonous, it's tedious, and it's almost impossible for humans to cover all of the different scenarios in which bugs could present themselves. And so with an AI, you can be like, all right, Chuck, I'm going home for the weekend. See you tomorrow. Boop, boop. And they go bleep, bloop, bloop. And they turn on the bug AI machine. And it works all weekend long, running the game, running scenarios, checking. Oh, there's a bug here. Boop, boop, boop. They put the log in and they make a screenshot or a video, put it on the side, keep it moving. Boop, 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 boop. All AI, all machine learning controlled. It looks for the bugs. It documents the bugs for the people who come in on Monday. Check out, let's see what we got on the bug list. Go boop. It's like, damn, we got a lot of bugs. And then they check them out. I'm not saying that the AI is going to fix the bugs, but the AI can look, search, detect, put the games in a scenario where bugs might exist. That's a tool. That's helpful. Now, is that something that's old news that they've been using for years? I don't know. But that's just an example of how AI can be useful for game production, where humans don't have to kill themselves over the weekend crashing and burning on some stupid bug fixes, you know? And you can extrapolate that out to many different things. And she said that AI shouldn't be used for the creative art part. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what she said. Art is created by humans. And yes, and even if the humans, the artists, use AI as a mood board, what's the difference between using AI as a mood board or actually going to Pinterest and picking out pictures of the people's art and putting it on the mood board? Explain that to me. What's the difference? There is no difference, because you're stealing art for your mood board, or you're using AI to create mood board with that, and they're stealing art too. So what's the difference? There's no difference. So if you want to be real, artists have been stealing art for mood boards for decades, for ever since pictures happened. So look, man, AI is a tool. The only reason why AI can go wrong is if us humans use it the wrong way. That's with every tool, everything that we create, every invention. If it's in the wrong hands, human hands, then it's gonna go wrong. And that's it. That's who you should be afraid of, not AI, the people who use it incorrectly. So stop being, you hear AI and you're afraid. You're scared. Don't be scared. Asha Sharma could be the best thing that happened to Microsoft. She could be the guru of AI and cause an AI resolution, an AI renaissance, and be the next kind of evolution of AI that makes everything better. Not just like video games. I mean, she's Xbox Pres, but before she was Core AI, and she was like implementing with different business partners and all these things. And like I said, she went deep, and I'm like, okay. And it was a general kind of talk, because I mean, there weren't any specific, because she was talking enterprise. So, it depends on your enterprise and how could you use AI maybe in, organizing inventory, or there's a plethora of ways that you can use this stuff, and that's I don't know where people's minds go when they are so afraid of AI. Maybe they're thinking about Terminator or something like that. But I'm like, look, we are not gonna live. Us graybeards are not gonna live to see Terminator. Okay, it's sure they got Optimus and all these stupid little goofy robots jumping around and stuff in Boston Dynamics, but they're not ready. They're not ready. So yeah. There was another story about the Final Fantasy dev. It was a Final Fantasy dev. I think he was an environmental artist and some other things. Anyway, he worked on many Final Fantasy games, the recent ones. And so he said, it's the last thing. He said that the PS5 and the PS5 Pro are considered mid-range PC equivalent. He put the Pro in there too, because of their performance. Basically, you look at the textures, you look at all that stuff, the texture quality and stuff, and he's like, yeah, it's no comparison to PC. Basically, Final Fantasy dude said that, and I was like, oof, that's and I don't hear nobody talking about that. Nobody said nothing about Final Fantasy dude talking about how shiny the PlayStation Pistotech 5 Potato is. I mean, we already knew, because the CPU is remedial. Let's be real. But, whatever. It's, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing that people aren't talking about. And never forget Concord, the greatest failure of video game history. Also, RIP Bluepoint. We're going to add that to the list. Let's just keep adding on to the list of failures that Sony is doing. It wasn't long-lived, but I'm going to keep that fire stoked, because I don't think we gave it enough. I don't think we gave it enough enough real estate. And the thing is, I watched the Digital Foundry thing about Bluepoint. They were angry. I'd never seen Digital Foundry this upset at PlayStation ever. And I was like, damn, man. But they're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. I can't believe this. It was so refreshing to see them angry at Sony. And the thing is, people may be, we're going to forget about it because, news is... No, that's not how this works, because Bluepoint, that's like shutting down Naughty Dog. That's like shutting down Naughty Dog. That's like shutting down, who else? Santa Monica Studio. That's like, they were one of the big, 5? Santa Monica, Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Bluepoint, Gorilla. That's about right? Yeah. That's like shutting down one of them. They shut down Bluepoint. Now they got 4 AAA studios left, I think. Whatever. We can do another video on that. But like I said, this whole thing about this extra hate that they're doing, that all these Xbox shows are doing for, not so much dirt, but it was mainly booming them. They did say, let's give her a chance, so I'll give them that. But they were a little extra angry for no reason, because once again, it's all speculation, and it's going against what they literally said. What Sarah said, I guess Boom hadn't read it at that point. Sarah, he should have, because it came out like a day after, and it's freaking Tuesday already. Anyway, Sarah said, Phil said, Satya and Matt. Now they did say, and Asha, they did say this. They said it's kind of, I don't know if they said it's kind of funny, but what's his name? Satya Nadella and Matt Booty and Asha. I don't think they, 3 of them mentioned Sarah Bond. I'd have to go back and read it. But Phil Spencer did. So, but my thing is that, one last thing, sorry to go back to it, I forgot to mention. There's an important piece too. They were saying they didn't like how Microsoft handled it, blah, 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 right? And I'm like, okay, I can understand that, but also what Jamie had said, he said, the bad news of Bluepoint came out. And then the next day, Microsoft came out with this bad news. Why couldn't you wait for the weekend and come out on Monday? Blah, blah, blah. Why you got to step on a rake? That's what they said, right? And I'm like, they are leaving out the fact that IGN had the scoop on that. And they were going to spoil it. They were going to freaking scoop it before they could announce it. So they did an emergency announcement. So I'm like, that's why. And that's why Sarah wasn't prepared, because she was like, I'll take the weekend and I'll write something up and then blah, 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 right? Basically. But she didn't have the weekend. She had a day, so she wrote it up, and then boom. That's why it was late, because they had planned to do it on Monday. You see? But nobody's saying that. And that's why they did it, because IGN are bastards. That's why I freaking hate IGN, because they could suck the left one and then the right one, then the left one again, if you know what I'm just saying. Those flowers piss me off, man. It's like, yo, it's almost like they're conspiring against Xbox for some reason. It doesn't make, I mean, it makes sense in that, oh, they want to scoop it or whatever, but it's like, yo, pause, milk that Bluepoint story, because they could have, if they wanted hatred, if they wanted to, they could have milked that, because everybody was mad about that. They still are. They're just distracted right now. But I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna take this week, and I was gonna do a thing, but now I'm gonna change it, and I'm gonna do a different thing, and I'm gonna try to get it out by next week. And that's what's up, because we can't forget. We can't forget. We have to remind these fools what's up. You know what I'm saying? PlayStation's not getting no passes, man. Not in my book. They're not getting any more passes. So that's what's up. But anyway, I appreciate you hanging out. Like and subscribe. Leave it in the comments below. Let me know what you think about Bluepoint. No. About the negative spin that everyone's going about this Sarah Bond situation, Phil Spencer situation, and the fact that everybody's jumping to these conclusions without really taking at face value what they're saying. That could be the truth. I mean, of course, it's possible that it's just PR spin, whatever, blah, 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 right? But like I said again, when Sean Layden left, there was no, oh, I'm glad how all the people, no. It was silence. They grabbed his key card and kicked him out the door. There's the difference. You see the difference? There's the difference. And like Jim Ryan. Oh, I don't like the commute. I'm homesick. But just bullshit excuses like, what? You are a CEO. You make millions of dollars. Huh? Okay, whatever. Yeah, you got fired. And then next day he got cookies in a white t-shirt. Look, throwing a pizza party next day, firing the whole... Man, that's so... Oh my God. Anyway, I'm sorry. I appreciate... And I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Tilt the weight.